Alright, so in this video on the Daily Push, we're doing a little question and answer. The first question and answer that I've actually ever done on this channel. So if you end up liking it, I'll do some more. So drop your questions down below if you've got any questions related to nutrition, exercise, skating, performance, anything. Drop your questions down below and I'll do my best to answer them. And if I don't know the answers, you can Google it and we'll move on with our day. Okay, so from @JaviCalm, he says, when you skate flat, you look at the board before popping a trick. Where or what do you look at when jumping off stairs or doing combo tricks? So this is a super interesting question and something that I've been thinking about a lot recently. So when you're skating flat, as you said, as you observed, you're looking directly at your board. When you're skating some stairs or a ledge or pretty much anything that's not on flat, you are looking at the thing that you're about to pop onto. Now, I'm sure there's something that everyone can relate to, and that is having a trick locked in on flat and then absolutely flapping it, just messing it up completely when you actually try and do it down something or like into a ledge or into a rail or whatever. And one of the reasons for that is, if you imagine you've got to do a trick, you've got to, let's say a kickflip, I've got to pop the board, flick my leg out and then catch the board, roll away, bolt like a bouse. And to get that done, my body has to move in a very specific way. And when I'm looking at the board, my vision is adding an extra level of information where I can look at my legs and really make sure I'm controlling them in the way that I need to control them. Whereas then when we take it to some, let's say that kickflip down some stairs and maybe you mess it up, you don't have that information coming from your eyes looking at what your legs are doing. So you have to rely primarily on something called proprioception, which is basically your body's awareness of where it is in space and how it moves through space as well. So it has to do the same movement but now with less information on how to actually do that movement. So sometimes just doing the trick over and over and over and over again, just practicing it just an insane amount, is enough to kind of drill that motor pattern in and make it so you can do it easily without looking at the board. But a lot of the times that isn't the case, and you can do a trick on flat but then doing it down something, it just doesn't work at all. So in these situations, doing some extra training, in my opinion, is going to be super beneficial for locking in those tricks. Pretty much every single athlete in every single sport is going to be doing some kind of proprioceptive work away from their sport itself. So that's something that I incorporate into my training and the other programs that I make for skaters. So that's one piece of the puzzle, but then the other piece is actually training proprioception around whatever trick you're trying to learn down the thing that you're trying to skate or into a ledge or whatever you're trying to skate. And I've been recently like developing some ideas around how we might do this, which I'm yet to fully kind of lock in and actually release and put to the test myself. But it's along the lines of gradually kind of like looking away from your board as you do it on flat. So maybe you start off by like looking at how you get your feet into position on the board, then you do the trick. Then the next level would be getting your feet into position without looking at the board, then looking at it and doing the trick. And then the next level would be something like getting it into position, maybe looking at the board as you roll up on flat, but then looking a little bit past the nose of the board as you actually do the trick. So you're kind of using your peripheral vision to actually do the trick. So fun little fact here, Rodney Mullen, if I remember correctly from his book, said that as he was training for different freestyle competitions, his trainer, like he actually had a skate trainer, made him skate blindfolded. I'm pretty sure that's correct. I need to verify it, but I'm pretty sure he skated blindfolded. So that's something I definitely want to try at some point. But that's going to be related to kind of like locking in that movement pattern without actually looking at the board. Okay, so from @JJerome8, he says, what is the best food to eat before the sesh? So the most important thing by far, as always with these nutrition questions, is what you eat in general throughout the day. So focusing on high quality, nutrient dense food should always be number one. Getting enough carbs and protein as well. One thing that you don't want to do before you skate is eating a massive meal, because then it's just going to be sitting there in your belly. You're going to feel heavy. We've all been there before, and your body is basically going to be sending energy to digest that food as opposed to providing that energy for skating, along with not actually having access to the food itself. So if you do eat a big meal, try to get it in about 2 to 4 hours before the session. And if you don't have that kind of time and you're starting to feel hungry before your sesh, think that you want to prioritize high carbohydrate foods and faster digesting carbs as well. So these are things like maybe some fruit in a smoothie, just some fruit alone, or some bread with some jam or something like that. So I've done videos on pre-sesh nutrition and carbohydrates as well, so I'll link them down below if you want to go into a little bit more detail on this topic. So just to summarize, you want to think higher carbohydrate foods, and as you get closer to the session, the size of your meals want to be getting smaller and smaller as well. Alright, so at justas.ma or justas.ma or justas.ma, I don't know, he says, or she says, can you increase trick consistency with additional training apart from skating itself? Yes, 100%, 112.3% you can. Why? Because skating involves some of the most intense athletic abilities that pretty much any human does, I would say. Like some of the shit that we do skating, well, maybe not myself, but some of the stuff that some people do is insane. So as training can increase our strength, stability, endurance, power, it can help us better handle the forces involved in skating. That's going to come back round. It's going to make us more resistant, more resilient to skating itself. So it's going to cause less damage to us when we actually go out skating. We're going to recover faster, have less aches and pains, and just feel better in general on our boards and off our boards as well. And that's not even to mention enhancing specific aspects of your skating, like your pop, through training itself as well. So all of that combined is just going to mean that you're going to be able to maintain a higher level of skating for longer, and your sessions are going to last longer. So let me just get my calculator out. Okay, yes, I've done the math, and it says if you can basically maintain a higher level of skating for a longer period of time, obviously that's going to come back round and that's going to increase consistency. You're going to learn faster, you're going to learn more tricks. 100% training can help with skating. Okay, so at JJ64__ double underscore right there, shout out. So he also asked what's the good meal to eat before the sesh, but also after the sesh as well. So again, the answer to this one is also what you eat throughout the whole of the day is by far more important. Making sure you're getting in enough carbs and protein just evenly spaced throughout the day is more important. So for the majority of situations, just eating enough regularly throughout the day is gonna give you all you need in terms of recovery nutrition. But there are certain times when you might benefit from getting in a little extra thumbing straight after that session. So if you haven't eaten a meal within about a few hours before the skate, then you might benefit from getting one in within about 2 hours after the session. Or if you're going to skate later in the day or work out, or maybe you've got a water polo competition, then you're going to benefit from getting in some high carb foods pretty much straight away after the session as well. That's just going to help replenish those carb stores for the second bout of movement that you end up doing. Alright, so at cycle_babus, whatever it is, she says, what is the most effective post-session cooldown? Simplifying things, we have a nervous system in our body that has certain branches called the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. Maybe you know of them as like fight or flight, or the rest and digest. So they control different systems in our body that have different effects on our physiology. So the fight or flight or sympathetic is going to get us like nice and pumped up to go skate. It's going to get things like blood flowing to the muscles. It's going to get our heart beating faster. Whereas the parasympathetic nervous system or the rest and digest is going to have pretty opposing effects, where it's going to control things like digesting your food and just getting all those recovery processes kicking off. So the key when it comes down to a cool down after your session is pretty much just doing anything that's going to activate the parasympathetic nervous system. So you can just think of that as when you're in more of like a relaxed, chilled kind of state, and to get there, do whatever works for you. So if that's some breathing, some meditation, chilling with the homies, maybe a little bubble bath with some classical music playing, maybe you like to rub tiger balm on your nips, whatever you're into. That for me, to be honest, would activate my sympathetic for sure, but you know, each to their own. I'm not here to judge. So pretty much just think chilling, activate that parasympathetic, and another couple of other little bonus bangers that you might want to focus on are just hydrating, and going back to the question on post-skate nutrition as well, maybe getting in some food straight away if that's appropriate to whatever situation you're in. So at _Daniel Alivio or Daniela Livio, not sure if you're a guy or a girl, maybe non-binary, who knows, says, I stopped working out from school stress. How do I get out of a rut? First off, mate, I feel you. We've all been there before. It sucks when you feel like you're losing that momentum, you're losing that rhythm, and you don't know how to get out of it. We've all been there countless times. But the best thing to do in these situations is really just to start again. Like, just to do something. I know it's kind of simplifying things, But if you think, why do you see it a problem that you aren't working out anymore? Obviously because you're thinking, all right, this is negatively going to affect my skating, or maybe I'm going to lose the progress that I made through training. So that's just going to get worse the more time that you leave. So at the end of the day, the best thing is just to start doing something. So instead, don't look at you like stopping working out as failing in any way. View it as feedback. And now that you kind of try and get back into things, use that feedback to change your plan of how you're going to reintegrate your working out. So I'm sure the reason you stopped working out was in some way related to not having enough time. So now use that information when you plan on reintegrating your working out into your life, and be like, all right, I didn't have much time, so I need to either shorten my workouts or maybe do shorter workouts more frequently throughout the week. Whatever works for you. Basically just make the task that you end up doing as small as it possibly needs to be for you to be 90% sure that you can actually do it. Because so many times in these situations we make these huge life plans and we're like, all right, I failed, but now I'm going to change everything. I'm going to get back in the game. You know, I'm going to go get some Lycra leggings and I'm really going to blast the working out. But at the end of the day, these situations, you just maybe keep it going for a couple of days, but then you just end up flopping again. So make the task as small as it has to be for you to be 90% sure that you can actually stick to it. And maybe that's something as literally as small as 2 5-minute workouts a week. Whatever you have to do to make sure that you're actually doing something, do it. It might seem stupid doing something as small as that, but over time the consistency is going to build on top of each other. It's going to generate more momentum. You're going to be more motivated to actually take it to the next level then and start increasing the length of the workouts, because often motivation comes after actually taking that first step and taking action. So that's it for the Q&A video. If you like this kind of video, let us know down in the comment section below, and if you've got any other questions related to nutrition, training, performance, skating, anything like this, drop them down in the comment section below as well, and I'll try and do another video soon if people are hyped on this kind of video. So there we go, that's it, mate. So make sure you subscribe for regular content that's going to improve how you skate and how you feel when you skate, and that's it for this one.